We just wrapped up the semester here in Oxford, Ohio. It's December 20th, 2023, and I want to do an informal kind of chat or report to you about how specifications grading worked in my courses. I learned a ton. So I started this journey in May 2023, and in August 2023, implemented specifications grading in all 4 of my courses. So I had a 300 level, mostly juniors, course in interaction design, in emerging technology in business and design, ETBD here at Miami. There were 11 students in that class. It was a smaller course for sure. And students that I did not know. They're not in my degree program where I'm housed in the Department of Art. And so it was people who are brand new to me, but in interaction design that I'm very familiar with. Also in a course called Design Research Methods Basics, that's Art 227. So these are sophomores, they are first semester, second year students at Miami University, trying to get away from using the word sophomore and freshman and all that stuff. And those are students, at about 16 students in that course. And some students I knew already. I'd had them in courses or they'd already been in our program, so fairly familiar with them. Both of those courses are on-ground, face-to-face, in-person classes, Tuesday, Thursday, pretty traditional model. One's a studio-based course, so teaching 6 hours in the classroom for 3 credit hours of credit. So it's longer courses. And then one was a traditional lecture based. We ran it like a studio, but 3 hours per week for 3 credit hours. The other 2 courses, we have an experience design MFA here at Miami University where I just had a few students this semester, and they are online students. So I did not see these students at all during the semester. I believe we had 7 students in a design research methods course. And that course, very heavy in research design. Really this semester we focused on getting everything ready from literature review, developing methods, and creating a human subject protocol, IRB application to get that research approved so students can, over the winter break, operate interviews, focus groups, all those primary methods. So very heavy on writing, very heavy on feedback, back and forth, tons and tons and tons of writing. And that was an online course. And then also Experience Design Studio, which is a studio-based course where we are creating and making design. This semester was on meaning making was the topic, really focused on people and their insides, what makes them who they are, how they think, what establishes their identity, and how we design for experiences when we consider that internal identity, the self-concept of people. I only had 3 students in that course online as well. Never saw those students face-to-face, and it was a 600 level graduate level course in experience design. So 4 courses, 200, 300 to 600s. So that's kind of where I was working for our specifications grading this semester. So I just want to give you a few highlights. I'm not going to make you sit here for like 30 or 40 minutes. But I wanted to give you an idea of where I came from this semester. So here's what I learned. I'm not going to talk about specs grading. I'm going to let you learn about that on your own, but I'll tell you what I walked away with. First, one thing that I thought was amazing was specifications grading meant that students read my feedback way more than they ever had before. So specs grading means when I give feedback, that feedback is either success, the assignment is complete, not done yet, which means do some revisions, or incomplete, which means students didn't turn in enough for me to give real feedback, but they have a chance to do that revision as long as they turn it in on time. So students would look at that feedback and really pay attention to it so they could do those revisions. It was the first time I've ever had so many students actually read the words I wrote or the video I gave them, and then go back through an assignment and make improvements and resubmit. In specs grading, you get, it's built on revisions, at least the model that I'm using. And it was exciting for students to read the feedback and respond to the feedback so I could read through, see how their work went, give feedback of like, oh, this was close, keep going, or say something was complete. So that was really exciting about specifications grading. If you're tired of students not reading your feedback, specs grading is a wonderful framework that will promote that. So that's one thing I learned. I'll give you 3 things I learned. I won't go into the whole thing because I'm already like 12 minutes in. Another thing, course design. So I really noticed on course design, it changed how I built my courses significantly. So because specifications grading needs to leave time for students to turn in work and then do revisions, I had to accelerate my deadlines. I had to move deadlines up. Instead of students like turning stuff in and they're done, I had to leave time for them to turn the work in, for me to grade it, and then to give them that feedback so they'd have time to do those revisions. So I had to move my deadlines up, and that really changed how I built my course. And not in a bad way, but I want to let you know, if you're considering specifications grading, you're going to have to adjust your timeline significantly to leave time for those revisions. So that was a big thing I learned. I like it. And here's one, payoff. We're right here at finals too. Yeah, they were last week. Everything got turned in. Grading at the end of the semester was the easiest end of semester I've ever had. Now, granted, 3 weeks ago was pretty intense because I had a lot of work coming in and I was giving feedback and I was, getting those revisions. But it meant for a lot easier and less pressured end of semester than I've ever seen before. And learners gave me feedback that they really appreciated the end of the semester was less pressure. Now, it didn't mean they didn't have work to do. They were doing revisions and still like fixing stuff in their final project or another work, but responding to feedback and making changes is a whole lot different than having to come in and do like a project for the first time, big turn in, wondering what's going to happen. So that was wonderful. I think it helped me to teach more effectively and to respond to learners as they were turning in work. And I love that it was way less pressure on me and way less pressure on them at the end of the semester when everybody's pretty gassed, pretty tired, and kind of worn out. And it's really just completion time. And I loved how specs grading operationalized that as part of the process. So one more thing, how much work does it involve? So I've got a few notes for myself down here. So instructors share that it's, saving how much work they had to do. I have to say it was about the same amount of work, but different. I don't think it was way less work, but I think it was less pressure. Let me say it that way. Let me clarify. So whenever I graded work, I was grading it knowing that students would have time to make revisions. So I didn't have to worry about like getting super detailed on everything. I could do a pass through the work, whether it was a style board that someone had designed or an initial prototype on an app, or maybe chapter 1 of their thesis. I could review that work, give good feedback, really detailed feedback, and go through knowing that the first pass of things I saw, I didn't need to give them a billion things they needed to fix. I needed to give them enough to where they could get started. So that was way less pressure on me. So I'll tell you, I don't know if you have the same experience I do. Like when I open up Canvas LMS, which is our learning management system here, there are times that I'm just like, oh, grading time, hours of work. But with specs grading, I didn't feel like it was going to be a ton of pressure. I could open it up and like, all right, let's do some grading. I'm focused. And I quickly went through, gave that feedback quickly, wrote responses to students, shot some video, whatever. And I found the grading was way less pressure, that I didn't have to be super, super detailed on everything. And that I could give them enough to where the things that worked, success. Like in the rubric, I could check success for the things, the learning outcomes that they met. Done, got it. And then really focus on the ones they didn't get and give the feedback there so I could focus the feedback. So the nice thing was it was less pressure, I think, when I was grading, to where I actually enjoyed grading and it got done very efficiently. Maybe not faster, but it was extremely efficient, very, very quick in giving that feedback. And when revisions came in, it's a lot easier to grade revisions than it is the first turn in. So when I got those revisions, I'm like, oh, I know what they're working on here. Last time the style was a bit off, or the functionality of their Figma prototype was not working at all last time. And I didn't have to grade everything all at once. I could narrow in on the things I gave them feedback on last time. So I found with grading, it was less pressure, and maybe it'll be less work in the future. I only did it once, I've run it one semester, so I'm still new. But I think maybe it'll be faster next time, but I did love it was less pressure on me and kind of less angsty of like, oh man, I've got so many things to grade. I very seldom felt like I had that so many things to grade. And when I did have that pressure, kind of here we go. When I started working on it, it went by very, very quickly. The grading was very smooth and learners got that feedback. So last thing I'll say here, I had one really cool moment in my Design Research Methods Basics course, second year students. There was a project report that was due near the end of the semester, and it was a group report. So there were 4 teams in the class, and every team had to make at least 4 revisions. So they turned in the project, gave a ton of feedback, sent it back. They made revisions. I looked over it again. Nope, still not there. Some learning outcomes were success, still not everything. Sent it back again. So we went around 4 times for every project, and it wasn't a drag on the students, but there was a moment that I cherish that was really exciting. So I had one group, we were in class one day, and I gave a lot of time for group work. So students, this is scheduled class time. So I wanted to use that time for us to work in groups and really focus on making progress. So I was doing some grading while students were working at the beginning of class, and I was grading these reports and giving feedback on them. So I gave feedback on one of them that had finally met success in every learning outcome area. So I gave that feedback and checked it off and all that stuff before I was going to go around to each group and do some active teaching. So I gave that feedback, flipped the project to completed. It was at an incomplete status, switched to complete, gave the feedback in Canvas. You made it, it's done. You achieved success in every learning outcome. So I sent that over, moved on to another thing, doing some grading. And I saw one student at a table, the one that I had just submitted. See, I don't have my phone with me, so I'll use this remote. But this student in the class was working whatever, and grabs their phone and they're like, and then shows it to another student in the group. And then they both high five each other. So I'm sitting over there watching this happen. And I did say to them, I was like, was that because of the completion grade? And she's like, yes, it was. So this group completed the project and they felt a sense of accomplishment, a big high five. That reminds me of why I love teaching and why I love learning. And it was exciting because unlike a project where you turn it in one time and then here's the grade and then you get to the end, the students actually had to work on it and continue to hack away at this really big project. There was a sense of accomplishment there that I am proud of for them, that they accomplished. And I'm also happy that they achieved what I had hoped for them to accomplish in the course, at least for that project. Okay, so that's a quick rundown here, end of semester, fall 2023. I hope it helps you have an idea of specs grading, and visit the site, Design Workbench, teaching.designworkbench.com, where I'll continue to post everything I'm learning about specifications grading on this journey. Thanks for listening, and see you in class.